Welcome. I am Collins Trott, Child Development Faculty on the Wallace Community College Dothan campus. In this episode, we are going to be learning about social emotional development of toddlers. Most babies begin life surrounded by people who meet all their needs. Babies' needs are usually simple, so caregivers can meet most of them promptly. When their needs are met and their environments are consistent, babies develop focused attachment to their caregivers and, in turn, learn to trust their world. As babies become toddlers, 3 changes happen. First, toddlers find out more about themselves as individuals and about their world. Second, toddlers realize the world is not solely devoted to meeting their needs. And third, toddlers' emotions become more elaborate, specific to events, and intense. Toddlers also directly sense the expressions of other people's emotions. Thus, during the toddler years, children develop self-awareness, achieve autonomy, and reach out to form social relations with others. They also begin to show attachments and express emotions. These 3 interrelated developments serve as a preparation for the emergence of a truly social being. So join me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about social and emotional development of toddlers. During the toddler years, children begin to develop self-awareness. Self-awareness is the understanding a person has about themselves, and it begins to develop at birth and continues to build throughout life. A good sense of self-awareness is essential to a person's well-being. Without a sense of self, children cannot develop close relationships and adults cannot share intimacy. Self-awareness in the toddler years involves seeing oneself as a unique person, recognizing oneself, like in the mirror, and developing early feelings of self-esteem. Self-esteem is feeling good about one's own worth, competence, and control. Adults can readily note a toddler's emerging self-awareness when toddlers express possession, identify their image as themselves, and are increasingly impatient. According to Erickson, toddlers are in the second stage of personality development called autonomy versus shame and doubt. In this stage, toddlers are tasked with achieving autonomy, which is a form of self-governance in which a toddler seeks to do their own will. For most children, this stage begins somewhere between 12 and 18 months of age and is completed at about 36 months. Autonomy builds on the toddler's expanding motor and intellectual skills. The independent feeling comes from toddlers' increased self-awareness of their abilities. Erickson explained autonomy as a toddler's feelings of being able to do some tasks without help from others. He felt that caregivers should recognize toddlers' desires to be more independent and allow them to do what they can do at their own pace. Erickson believed damage occurs, however, when impatient caregivers complete tasks that toddlers are capable of doing themselves. Consistently criticizing or overprotecting toddlers leads them to feel they cannot control themselves and their world. Erickson calls this feeling a sense of shame and doubt. During the toddler years, social relations are extended. The parent-child relationships, which was solely nurturing during infancy, changes to include socialization and authority. As children get older, their growing motor and intellectual abilities help them interact more with adults and other children. These early social interactions teach children new skills and attitudes which help them get along with other people. This process of interacting with others socializes children. Developing secure attachments is critical for social emotional outcomes throughout life. A child's attachment to a caregiver begins in infancy and is completed between 12 and 18 months of age. Attachment has its biological roots in survival, but is learned by the child through correct, prompt, and consistent caregiving. A child shows attachment to his or her caregiver through attachment behaviors, which are seen when the infant or toddler feels stress or anxiety. When a toddler seeks out and tries to maintain proximity with a special caregiver, the toddler has a secure attachment. The child uses his caregiver as a secure base from which to explore an unfamiliar setting or approach an unfamiliar person. The children also seeks his caregiver's protection and comfort if a situation is perceived as dangerous or distressing. Secure family attachment often encourages out-of-family attachments and are essential to good mental health. Toddlers who get inconsistent care, regardless of the reason, develop insecure attachments. Insecure attachments are most damaging to a person's self-esteem and thus to their mental health. During the toddler years, children's developing abilities alter how they experience and express emotions. Due to their increasing intellect, toddlers' emotions become more elaborate. They react to more stimuli than infants. They know more people to love and fear, experience more events, and can even imagine unreal things. Toddlers can better sense emotions in others too. Also, emotions become more specific. In addition, emotions become more intense, sometimes even overwhelming to toddlers. Due to the intensity of emotions and their increased motor skills, toddlers tend to express emotions physically more often than infants. On the other hand, toddlers' verbal skills enable them to express emotions verbally too, if taught. Because of these new and improved abilities, children's expression of love and affection, fear, anxiety, and anger change during the toddler years. Fears tend to intensify during this period, and being separated from parents continues to make toddlers anxious. Anger occurs when events do not go how the toddler wants, often resulting in temper tantrums. Children achieve a number of social, emotional, developmental milestones during the toddler years. Due to changes in brain development, motor skills, and intellectual language abilities, toddlers' social emotional worlds begin to mature, which lay the foundation for development beyond the toddler years. Meeting social emotional needs in the toddler years differs from meeting needs during infancy. Toddlers are no longer completely dependent on adults due to their advancing skills. As toddlers learn they can do things on their own, they desire more autonomy or independence. For toddlers to grow and develop and have self-esteem, parents must allow toddlers autonomy and to do the things that they are able to do. Toddlers, however, are far from being ready to be independent. They still need adult help in achieving goals. Adults are also needed to set limits and exercise authority. Thus, Galensky noted that parents are still nurturing, but soon will be in the authoritarian stage of parenting. The authoritarian stage of parenting requires parents to find their parenting style, often through much trial and error. In sum, the overall adult goal is to find a healthy, overall stress-free balance between toddlers' goals and expression of emotions and adult control. Adults can help toddlers develop self-awareness, and parents who use these right types of support aid toddlers' feelings of autonomy. Self-awareness grows mainly out of the toddler's daily contact with their world. Parents and caregivers can enhance the toddler's self-awareness and acknowledge the child as a unique person. Autonomy is a very important part of a developing toddler's life. Parents and caregivers can help toddlers on this journey towards achieving autonomy by ensuring their safety and encouraging toddlers' efforts. Parents must help their toddlers find a balance between self-assertion and obedience. To do this, toddlers need to know what is and is not acceptable. Because of toddlers' newfound skills, they become willful and curious. Toddlers find it most difficult to delay gratification and inhibit intense emotions. Problems occur when the personalities and needs of parents and other adults conflict with the needs of the toddler. Toddlers need both attachment for protection and comfort, as well as for their growing autonomy. They will go back and forth between wanting to be totally independent and wanting to be totally dependent. Toddlers need some freedom, and adults need to guide toddlers' self-assertion. Giving toddlers choices lets them express their preferences. Toddlers do not have self-restraint or the ability to control themselves. They also do not know all of the rules of acceptable behavior. Adults not only foster self-assertion, but they also teach obedience, which is acting within the limits set by others, to help toddlers understand what is socially acceptable behavior. The best way to teach obedience is to meet toddlers' needs and not punish what they do wrong. There are positive ways to help toddlers learn obedience. Parents and other caregivers must guide and co-regulate toddlers' positive and negative emotions. Toddlers show a variety of emotions ranging from very positive to negative. Toddlers have a broader range of negative emotions because of their increased intellectual abilities, lack of inhibition, and immature language skills needed to express needs and resolve conflicts. They need parents and other caregivers to help them co-regulate their emotions. The goal of co-regulation of emotional expression is to help a child develop a rather high level of self-regulating abilities by 4 or 5 years of age. These behaviors must be guided by a child's developmental level. In infancy and early toddlerhood, co-regulation involves soothing. Between 18 and 30 months, toddlers' emerging intellectual and language abilities increase dramatically and likely contribute to what works best in co-regulation. Reasoning should be at the child's zone of proximal development to help a toddler learn more sophisticated strategies for coping. Toddlers must grow in their understanding and responses to develop a cache of strategies needed for self-regulation. Another co-regulation method that works with older toddlers who need to delay gratification is distraction, which refocuses the toddler's attention. Stress is common in the toddler years. Most stress is short-lived, but stress associated with insecure attachments or trauma in toddlers, including depressed mothers, is serious and requires professional treatment. One of the best ways to deal with stress is through prevention. Sometimes stress cannot be prevented, though. Parents and caregivers can, however, respond to the stress and identify stressors. Major stressors that can affect toddlers include parent-toddler conflicts, insecure attachments, concerns and traumatic events in the family, and maternal depression in the toddler's second and third years. Caregivers can recognize stress in toddlers by paying attention to signs such as frequent nightmares, unusually intense fears, and aggressive behaviors. Coping with a toddler's stress involves being patient and supportive. Listening for clues about the source of the stress is important. All toddlers need consistency in their lives. If the symptoms of stress continue or worsen, seek professional help. Now let's review what we've learned. During the toddler years, children begin to develop self-awareness. Besides seeing themselves as unique people and recognizing themselves, toddlers' self-awareness involves early feelings of self-esteem. Toddlers are in Erikson's second stage of personality development, known as autonomy versus shame and doubt. During the toddler years, social relations are extended. The parent-child relationship, which was solely nurturing during infancy, changes to include socialization and authority. Toddlers spend more time with adults other than the parents. Interactions with other children are brief, though children often imitate each other. Developing secure attachments is critical for social emotional outcomes throughout life. Toddlers experience a wider range of emotions than infants. They are still attached to caregivers, but also begin to show affection for others. Fears tend to intensify during this period, and being separated from parents continues to make toddlers anxious. Anger occurs when events do not go how the toddler wants, often resulting in temper tantrums. Toddlers are still dependent on adults to meet their social emotional needs. Adults can help toddlers develop self-awareness, and parents who use the right types of support aid toddlers' feelings of autonomy. Parents must help their toddlers find a balance between self-assertion and obedience. To do this, toddlers need to know what is and what is not acceptable. Parents and other caregivers must guide and co-regulate toddlers' positive and negative emotions. Stress is common in toddler years. Most stress is short-lived, but stress associated with insecure attachments or trauma in toddlers, including depressed mothers, is serious and requires professional treatment. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about social emotional development of toddlers. See you next time.